everybody. This is Addie D. Hilster, and I'm here at Spiral Path Yoga Center. And today I thought we could talk a bit about postures for seated meditation. So this is one of the really common questions that I get, particularly from people who are new to meditation practice or who've been trying to meditate for a little while, but they're having trouble kind of finding a posture that works for their body. And the good news is that we have a lot of different options in how to sit for meditation. Ultimately, the best posture for meditation is one where the body is not a distraction for you, where you can be mindful of the body and kind to the body, but where it isn't creating a lot of agitation for you because you're trying to force the body to sit in a way that's not serving. So I'm sitting in a chair right now, and this is a good option I'll show you. We also have some items here for sitting on the floor, and I'll go over a couple ways to sit on the floor. But you know, this goes all the way back to the origins of mindfulness, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, which is a really important text, a discourse by the Buddha, where he talks about being mindful in 4 different postures: standing, sitting, walking, and lying down. So this gives us the space to think of our mindfulness practice as not being dependent on the posture. So we can find the posture that works best for us and then get on with our mindfulness practice. Also, if you think back to the Yoga Sutras, if you know that text from the yoga tradition, there's not a lot of instruction there about posture, but the one instruction that came through in that text is Sthira Sukham Asanam, which means that the pose should be steady and have a sense of ease to it. And the kind of pose they were talking about, Patanjali was talking about in the Yoga Sutras, was really seated meditation. So the only requirement he laid out was that it should be steady and have a sense of ease to it. So whatever that looks like for you, that's your posture. Sometimes it's best to meditate standing up, sometimes lying down. I'm going to go over seated postures today. Okay, so let's get into that. On the floor, you have a couple of options for how to sit, really cross-legged or sitting kneeling. So cross-legged postures, a lot of times we use a cushion like this round cushion. It's called a zafu. You would see this in a meditation center, most likely. You can certainly get your own as well. And to sit on a zafu, you would put it on the ground, and you might have it up on another cushion, like a flat pad called a zabuton, or some blankets, and you would sit cross-legged. So the zafu lifts your hips up a little bit so that there's less tendency for you to be rounding back in your spine, or for your hips to be up like that and your knees to be up like that. So that's really helpful, and that works for a lot of people. If you do find your knees are still up like that, you might take some other prop, like another blanket or a block or something. I can show with this one. And fold it up or roll it up so that it's underneath your knee. So you could do that on one or both sides if that's helpful and gives you some relief. You can also, it's really important to make sure you have enough cushioning underneath your ankles and your shins. Otherwise, your legs will probably fall asleep, and that's not helpful, not at all. And I also found when I first started meditating, I would try to do it with my legs crossed like that, and then just having the pressure of one ankle on top of the other would make the bottom one fall asleep a lot. So uncrossing and just having them in front of each other can really be helpful. So what else? There's a lot we could go over. If you have more like yoga props and not a zafu, you could use a bolster to sit on. So this is a yoga bolster. You could also use blankets or couch cushion or some really firm bed pillows or whatever you have at home, and the same principles pretty much apply here. That we're trying to bring the hips up. If I scooch around sideways, maybe you can see what that's like. So I've got my hips up a little higher, my knees are dropping down. I'm not slouching back like that because this gives me some elevation. And even if you might be able to sit on the ground like all the way like this, You probably can do that comfortably for a few minutes, but once you're starting to extend your meditations beyond 5 minutes and you're sitting for 15, 20, 30 minutes, this is going to get really tiring for the body. And then the last thing I want to say about the cross-legged postures, we have the famous lotus pose and bringing the legs up like that kind of gets romanticized sometimes. So let's not idealize certain postures because they really aren't superior poses for meditation. There's nothing magic about them, especially if they don't work for you. And also, I'm a firm believer that the meditation posture should not be a stretch. If you're going to sit for longer than 5 minutes and you're going to be in this posture for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or longer, it's not a good idea to put that kind of stress on your tissues to sit in a lotus pose or something that's stretching you out. So food for thought, I hope. Okay, so let's pause it right here, and then I'll come back with another video that talks about the kneeling posture and the chair posture. Thanks for joining me.